Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. And this is a pre-record that I'm doing this morning because Thursday mornings, generally, I go to my client's house, Oriel and Malcolm. Oriel's in this group. But I did put it out there if people wanted a pre-record on a Thursday morning, and you shouted yes, so I've done it for you. This is Back to Basics Fitness Pilates. We're doing quite a few Back to Basics this week. One, because a lot of people are returning back to classes that haven't done them for a while, being September, kind of almost like back to school. And two, because a lot of instructors in this group are going back to teaching. So to kind of give you some ideas and some pointers to do within your classes. So perfect kind of timing really wise for our Back to Basics. I did Back to Basics yoga yesterday, and we're doing Back to Basics fitness Pilates today. So hopefully you're good. Apologies that I can't say hi personally and respond back to your comments, but I will look at the comments, so please feel free to put any comments in the post and I'll reply back to those once I can see them. So hopefully you're good. Now, a lot of the time with beginners, I will actually use props. And one prop that is really, really important is your band. And this will massively help a lot of participants with certain moves to be able to help and aid that move. So if you've got a band and you want to use it, please feel free. Gang, I am going to spend a little bit of time talking about our alignment, and this is really important as well. So I'm just going to turn the music off for a moment, because when you go back to basics, even when you're revisiting, and maybe you haven't done a class for a while, or maybe, you're an instructor and you haven't taught that class for a while or taught these people for a while, it's really important to get people to recognize their posture and the way that they stand and try to bring themselves into that kind of optimum position. So first of all, we're going to place our feet together. We're going to turn our toes out to the corners of the room and then realign our heels with our toes, and take a moment to evenly distribute your weight between your right and your left foot. Once you've got the feet in that position, please don't feel they've got to stay there. They haven't, but this is a great starting point, because if you stand too wide, the abdominals don't really have to kick in. And if you stand too narrow with what we're doing, you might find you wobble. And I don't want you to feel like that. I want you to feel really secure right at the start of the class. So having the feet under the hip bones and using that little method is really easy to use, very, very easy to understand as well. Now, when you come up through the legs, we want to think about putting tension in our muscles, not our joints. So I never want you to lock your knees. Likewise, I never want you to lock your elbows. So think about pulling up strong. You're not going to be sloppy, but we're not going to lock those knees. I want you to put tension into the muscles, the thighs, put tension into the muscles in the bottom, the glutes, and then bring your pelvis into our neutral spine position. Now, neutral spine, again, is a brilliant start and finish point. It's very safe. It's the most effective position to be able to engage the abdominals and pelvic floor. And it's super safe with regards to protecting the back. But we won't be able to stay in it forever. So we're going to use it as a start and a finish point to our exercises. We'll come in and out of it. So I want you to rock your pelvis forward and back. Move from just the pelvis, so you're not doing like a hip thrust. I want you to really tilt. Tuck under, all the way forward is point A, and all the way back is point C. We're going to find point B somewhere in between. And that position is very unique to you. So you can't compare yourself with anyone else. And it also changes on a daily basis. So I don't want you to think that just because it's in a certain position today, it will be like that tomorrow, or it will be like that next week. It will change depending on what you've been doing and the activity that you've been doing, whether or not you've been doing a little sitting, whether or not you've been doing a lot of activity, exercise, standing, that kind of thing. So think about it being your start point, and you're going to come back to it at the end of each exercise. Lengthen up the rest of the body, grow tall, shoulders up, down, and away from your ears. I want you to be aware with Pilates, we breathe rather than shallow breathing here. We breathe more diaphragmatically, lateral breath. So our breath comes in and fills the lungs. So if you place your hands onto the sides of your ribs, I want you to start to breathe in and breathe out and feel the breath coming deep into the lungs. So that when you breathe in, you can feel your ribcage expand. And when you breathe out, you feel it move back inwards. And you have that moment to allow the breath to come lower, to come deeper. The lungs are actually located in the back of the body. A lot of people think they're in the front. They're not. They're in the back. So I want you to really feel the breath in the back of your body. Feel the back of the ribs really engage as you inhale and exhale. And a lot of people don't realize that their ribs are joints. You know, these are slightly movable joints that are attached to your vertebrae and attached to your sternum. And we need movement to keep those joints healthy, like you would do your elbow or your shoulder or your knee or your hip. So we need to breathe. The way we can move our ribs is by breath. So I want you to really think about moving your rib cage. Breathing in and breathing out. Now stay with that just for a moment. Once you know you've got that breath happening, I'm going to get you to think about the abdominals as well. So when you breathe in, they naturally relax. And when you breathe out, they naturally contract, like a big flexible belt around your waist, almost like your band. So if we were to put the band around the waist, as we breathe in, it slightly relaxes and expands. And as we breathe out, it tightens and wraps around the waist. So we breathe in, the flexible band relaxes, breathe out, and it connects. And that connection, that wrapping of that kind of tightening as you exhale is known as bracing. Engaging the muscles in the abdominals. So we're not going to hang on to them for dear life. We're not going to suck them in. We're not going to allow them to relax slightly. We absolutely are. But we want to then think about the out breath as well, engaging. Once you've got that going on, I want you to lengthen up the body, grow lovely and tall, and then take a moment to relax the neck. Drop the chin, and then look up to the ceiling. So many people are scared of moving the neck. But again, just like your rib cage, your neck, you've got joints there at the top. The only way that you are going to get blood supply to those discs in between the vertebrae and keep the joints healthy is by movement. And every single joint needs compression, decompression, and movement every single day. So take the head over to the right, feel the stretch and roll down over to the left. So take your time as you move, there's no rush. You're just going to allow that head to roll forward and through from side to side. Well done. And then when that feels good for you, we're going to bring the head down, chin to chest, and roll the shoulders back, up to the ears, back down. Be aware of how that feels. Head comes up. And I want you to really think about direction, which feels better. So does it feel better for you to rotate your shoulders back? Or does it feel better for you to rotate your shoulders forward? which direction feels best for you. So you're going to stay with the direction that you prefer and start to make the movements bigger. Now you might want to alternate and still stay with just the shoulder. You might want to alternate and bring the elbow in. Or you might want to alternate and switch the whole arm. So see how that feels for you as you open your chest and you open up through the shoulder. And some of you might prefer to keep your body facing forwards, and some of you might prefer to open back. Well done. The arm is going to reach over and we're going to take a lateral bend. Now change sides. So a lot of people think when you do a beginner class or a back to basics class that you need to move small. You don't. Just because somebody is going back to basics or they're a beginner doesn't mean that they may have limited movement. Yes, they may, but it's always good to give them the opportunity to be able to move as much as they can and then see how it feels. Well done. From here, relax through the shoulders. I'm going to get you to bring your hands into a Cossack position. Your right hand is on top, shoulders away from the ears. And let's rotate round to the right and then round to the left. And then you're going to switch the hands over and rotate round to the right and then round to the left. And then switch. So pelvis stays facing forward. This is a standing spine twist. And I want you just to take your time and see how that feels. So it really is the back that's moving. You're aware of the movement that you've got in your spine in a rotation. So one more time with the left hand on top. Good work. And then let the arms wrap around the waist, bend through the knees. Okay, let's see how the balance is. Bring your attention into your feet, and I want you to pedal push the feet first of all. Take a little bit of a release from right to left and recognize how that feels as you move. And then whenever you're ready, anchor your feet so the heels come down to the floor. Again, tension in the muscles, not the joints. Right foot is going to tap forward and tap back. So we're balancing on our left leg, but I don't want you to sink into the supporting side. So when you look at your shoulders, they should be level. Relax the arm. You can have the hands on the hips if you prefer. Now take that foot and it's going to come across and open. So now not only am I making balance, but I'm giving you a distraction. When we go across and open, it's a lot more distracting than forward and back. And think about how the mobility is in that hip. We come round the front and round the back into a semicircle. Trace the floor with your foot. And then bring the foot under the other one, under the hip, and relax the feet again. Pedal push, just loosen off. Well done. From here, move the attention to the left. So left foot forward and back. Squeeze the muscles in the bottom again. Be aware of how that feels. Shoulders are level. We've still got that flexible band around the waist. Still breathing into the rib cage. Big squeeze on the bum as you go back, come across and open. Allow that hip to move. Think about whether or not there's any tightness in the inner and outer thigh. And then you're going to come around the front and round the back. And again, let that hip move as much as you want. Well done. Last two. Last one. Pedal push through the feet, loosen off. Good work. We're going to come to the back of your mat. Feet under your hip hip bones, and we're going to take a half roll down. So take a moment to exhale, engage, and drop the chin. Roll vertebrae by vertebrae, hands on the thighs, and then push forward. Lengthen out the back. Inhale, exhale, rise. Vertebrae by vertebrae. And roll the shoulders, release. Relax there, and take a roll down again. Drop the chin. So we're really curling through the back. Keep the hands on the thighs. They go just above the knees, and then you create that lovely long spine like a table. Look forward, push the bottom back, and then roll up. Vertebrae by vertebrae. Roll the shoulders. Good work. Let's do this again. Roll down. Now you can do as many of those as you need to, but I'm going to bring you down to the floor. We're going to take our knees under our hips and our hands under our shoulders and take a cat stretch. Lift up through the spine and then release. So we lift up, shoulder blades separate, and then release, belly button comes down to the floor, look up. See your movement in your back. How does it feel? How much movement is there? Well done. So we take a moment just to push back and stretch, and I want you to know that this is your rest and recovery position. You can come back here anytime you want. Take the knees as wide as you need to and stretch your fingers along the floor. Hands over to the right, left hand on top. Feel the lovely stretch going down the side of the waist. And then change that over to the other side when you're ready. I'm going to bring you back to center. And our first floor-based exercise that we're going to do is going to be Supine, that we're going to go back to basics on. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Let's take a moment to really think about our alignment here. I want you to imagine you've got a tray of glasses resting on your back, and that tray isn't going to fall off. Those glasses aren't going to spill. We're going to keep lovely and long. We engage the muscles in the abdominals again when we exhale. Inhale, slightly relax. Exhale and engage. So think about lifting away from the floor every time you breathe out. And there's no hypermobility in the elbows. So when you look at the insides of your elbows, they face each other rather than facing forward. Think about your neck as an extension of your spine. We're going to take opposite arm to leg. Just trace it along the floor and then bring it back. So I'm going to keep my hand and foot in contact with the floor as I trace along. What I'm doing here is the hand and the foot is just acting as a distraction, trying to distract my alignment and trying to knock that tray of glasses off the back. So I'm staying strong and stable through the spine, through the waist to keep that position. Just as I trace my fingertips along the floor and my foot. Now, when you take the foot away, even though the foot stays in contact with the floor, can you squeeze the bottom? Because that's going to help to activate your lower back muscles. It will also help to activate pelvic floor. We exhale, squeeze. Inhale, return, and exhale, squeeze. Perfect. Let's take one more time. Good work. So we sit back, take a little bit of a release here, loosen off. You're going to come back to your box position. This time sit back just lightly, bring your right hand to your temple. We're going to bend that supporting arm and then lift up to the ceiling. Now this is called thread like a needle. We're going to do 4 repetitions here. And it's a great move to recognize if there is a difference between the right and the left side for you. So bending the supporting arm as you come through, straightening the supporting arm as you come up, and having a look where you're going. As you look up, and then change sides when you're ready. So coming through, bend the supporting arm, and then lift up when you're ready. Almost imagine the lower half of the body is set in stone. So we don't need to rock and roll through the pelvis. Keep the abdominals strong, but not holding on for dear life. You want to be able to breathe. Well done. Let's go back to the right, still staying with the hand at the temple. Now, think about how that feels. Have you got one side that is different from the other? Maybe you're more flexible on one side than you are on the other. Really be aware of you. How do you feel as you do this? When you've done your 4, change sides. Inhale, exhale. Coming through at your own time. Again, when you've done your 4, I want you to push back and just relax. Release and let the body stretch. So that Superman exercise is so good for your back strength. And then thread like a needle is so good for your back mobility. So the two go really nice together. Come round. And at this point here is where you might need your band. So feel free to grab it. We're going to place it around our feet. We're going to sit up lovely and tall. And holding on to the ends of the band. And we're going to come into a half roll back. Now pull up lovely and tall. Take a moment to breathe. Inhale, let the abdominals relax slightly. And then exhale, and you're going to tilt back. Come back to like a C shape. And then rise high again when you're ready. So we inhale, exhale, and we push back. Coming back into that C shape. And then lift up when it feels good for you. So as you tuck under, really being aware of the movement you've got in your pelvis, but also the engagement that you're getting in the abdominals. Come back, tilt. Inhale here, and then exhale, rise. Well done. So this move is primarily for abdominals, but also you've got back and pelvic mobility. Inhale, exhale. Well done. Take one more if we can. Inhale, exhale. Come back just as far as you wish. Perfect. Good work. So hopefully that gave the abdominals a bit of a wake-up call. You're going to come down into the floor. As you're here, I want you to lay comfortable for you, but find your neutral spine position down here in the floor. So take a little rock forward and back with your pelvis again, just like you did earlier when you're standing. And then all the way forward, point A, all the way back, point C. Let's find our point B here. We relax the arms. We bring the attention to the breath again, and as we breathe out, we engage. Inhale, slightly relax. Have your feet wherever you feel comfy, and your arms can be open or they can be close to you, depending on how it feels in the shoulders. We're going to exhale and lift one leg up. Lower down when that feels good for you, and then exhale, lift the other leg up. So inhale as you lower, exhale as you lift. It's a little bit of a preparation for our tabletop position. The knees coming over your hip bone, so we lift up. We're aware of where that is and how that feels for us. And take your time as you do this. No rush. I'm going to take this just a little bit further. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up on one side, up on the other side, and then down, and then down. Now, can you do that without any change happening in your back? So you're not coming into any hyperlordosis here, lifting up and up and lowering down and down. And the longer you stay there, the harder it is. So you can choose to hold there a little bit longer if you want to. We can move more at my speed. Maybe you want to try leading with the other leg. We all have our kind of favourite sides. When you lead with the other side, there might be a bit of a change. There might be a bit more of a demand happening there for you. You might find that either easier or harder when you lead with the other side. Perfect. Okay, we're going to come back to our neutral spine again. This time I'm going to slide one leg along the floor. Bring it back and then change. And again, you can have your feet wherever you feel comfortable. So some of you might prefer to have them hip distance, and some of you might prefer to have them wider. And the distance between the heel and the bottom really is your choice. So as you slide that foot along the floor, be aware of how that feels for you. Can you do that again without any change happening in the back? Push the leg away, exhale, engage, and inhale, relax. Bring the arms by your side now, and if you can, take opposite arm to leg away. It's a little bit of a reciprocal action here. Pulling back into the shoulder, exhale, press. Inhale, return. Good work. Slide it away. Nice and strong, no change. Great work. And just like with our back, these are strength work for the abdominals. But then I want to take the arms wide and roll your knees from right to left to do a little bit of a mobility move here. So just coming over as far as you wish. Feel free to have the feet together, the knees together, or they can be apart. I'm just going to roll your knees from right to left to see your mobility in your back and how that feels for you. Well done. We then bring the feet, again, comfortable for us, and we're going to come through shoulder bridge. So we tilt our pelvis first, just into a baby pelvic tilt, excuse me, and then roll back. So just focusing on that very lower back, but be aware of your feet. Do you want to move them? Do you need to move them there? So a little tilt up and then a release back. Taking your time as you lift and lower. Relax the arms. If ever there's any discomfort in the knees, you've probably got your heels too close to your bottom, so take them further away. And if your pelvis feels very tight, take the feet wider, give you a little bit more movement. So we don't have to come all the way up. We can really focus on this lower back that's naturally fused. It's very tight. We can just work on that pelvic tilt. Seeing how much movement we can create there, whether or not that starts to free off. And then only when that feels good for you, you're going to bring your knees into your chest and take a little bit of a release. Hug the knees, maybe rock side to side. If you want to, you can rotate round on your lower back, massage your lower spine. Go around the other way when that feels good for you. We uncross the feet, cross them the other way, and do our rotations again. Just being aware of how that feels as you move. The knees are going to come over to one side of the room, hand over to the other, and stretch there. We can look to the hand or we can look straight up. And then change sides when you're ready. Take a full body stretch, the arms above the head, the feet straight down. Lengthen away. Be aware of how that feels through the spine, through the waist, through the shoulders. From here, we take our hands to the back of our head and we're going to lift the head up, look to our feet, flex the feet. Lower down, and as we lift up this time, we turn the head to one side. And then change sides when you're ready. And then bring it back to center. Relax there. Again, just a gentle hug of the knees to bring you up to sitting. Take your time. Soles of the feet are going to go together. I'm going to just take a moment to release through the hips here. So opening up that space as big as you want to. Maybe rock side to side. Good work. And then sit comfy for you. Take one hand down. Lift up and over. Stretch the waist. And change. Hip bones anchor to the floor. Well done. Okay, so we're going to come round. Back to all fours. And take one leg away and just stretch into the calf. Push the heel away as far as you can. So this is option 1 for your calf stretch, and you're going to alternate whenever you want, pushing back. Or if it feels okay with you, lift the hips up, straighten both legs, push the weight back and feel the stretch in the back of the legs here. We're then going to walk our hands back to our feet, bend the knees and roll up slow. Vertebrae by vertebrae, bring the neck and head up last. And roll your shoulders back. Loosen off here. Take your roll down again, but I want you to see how it feels second time round. Inhale, exhale. So come back to that chin on chest. Hands on the thighs, look forward, create that flat back. And then round up when you're ready. So gang, I want you to do a couple of those. And be aware of how that feels to move. How does your spine feel now? Does it feel any more flexible? Inhale, exhale. And rise. Roll the shoulders. As you do your rotations, again, think about how does that feel again. Do they feel any easier? Do they feel a little less clicky maybe, a bit less clunky? And then pedal through the feet to loosen off. So whenever you're ready, you're going to bring your feet under your hip bones. So we're going to take a breath. And as we exhale, we bring ourselves back into our perfect Pilates posture. Everything comes back into alignment for us. Lengthen the head, shoulders away from the ears. Take another breath. As you exhale, you're going to bring your pelvis into your neutral spine position. See if you can do that now without the aid of your hands. And then one more time, inhale. And as we exhale, we breathe away any last little bit of tension from the body, and we just think about how we feel now in comparison to when we started. Take your right arm above your head and your left. Right hand forward and your left. Right palm in and your left. Give yourselves and each other a superb round of applause. Well done, everybody. Good work. I really hope you enjoyed that. I hope that felt good for you. Sometimes when you go back to basics, it's really nice to do a little bit more of a slower, more controlled class, but also a little bit more of a shorter class. Sometimes an hour when you're doing a beginner class can be a bit long, especially for beginners. So any questions, let me know, anything you want to ask about, but hopefully that was helpful this morning to go back to basics. I know a lot of you aren't beginners, nowhere near beginners anymore, but hopefully that was helpful for those of you that maybe teach beginners, or those of you that have had a little bit of summer time off and you're returning back after your summer holidays. I will be live, gang, at 12:30 today doing a no kit hit. So no equipment at all. And then I've got a pelvic floor instructor special chat at 1:15. So hopefully you can join me for that one. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll hopefully see you soon.